Da, 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 da. We're here. We're here. We're here. We're here. We're here.
I forgot to hook up today was my other camera.
Oh, darn. We don't get the other.
Yeah, you don't get the other one. I'm sorry. It's just, it's just life,
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. So, we're getting close. We're starting to pack.
Are you?
We're starting to pack. Getting very close.
So they were supposed to be here installing a back door today. That we waited. We went into Lowe's for this thing back in early September.
Yeah.
And they said within 10 days we'll have this door installed. A month and a half later, we're still getting texts.
Yeah.
Today was the day they were supposed to install it. Well, my truck broke down today. Dude.
Darn.
Like, get someone else, get their ass out here is what you need to do. You know what I mean? If you would have changed the system to where we don't have to pay you until you do the work. Oh my God.
Yep. I think that's the way we should do it, because they tell you finding good people to work is not an easy thing to do across the board.
Well, this was Lowe's first. This is their first job doing install for me. First job. And they lied to me. Taking 10 times longer than they said it was going to take. Yeah. Okay.
The honeymoon is over, folks. Honeymoon is over. Lowe's is out. Home Depot?
Well, no, I mean, Home Depot's not any better. With the idea behind these stores, this is you don't hire their install teams. Their install teams are fucking junk, You got to get yourself contractors that can do the work. You have the stuff delivered from them, and that's it. They suck at the install business.
That's the hardest part, is getting the workers to do the work, because even my husband's dealing with that right now. I mean, they have drivers, and the driver will show up and say, well, you know what? I'm getting off at 1:30. It's like, you're supposed to be working an 8-hour day, dude. And because they can't find the people to work, they deal with this shit. It's like, it's insane. Absolutely insane that they're dealing with workers that are not doing their job, or they doing the bare minimum, if that. They don't care.
Here's the tough part about this in business is these people who've become lazy because they're like, oh man, well, right now they need the workers, so I can do whatever the hell I want. The problem is it makes you lazy, right? And as a worker, when they don't need you, you're going to have to work 15 to 20 times harder to get a job.
Yep.
And then when you get the job, it's going to kill you the first freaking day.
Yeah, because you're going to be so tired.
Because you're so tired because you're not used to working at that pace.
Yep.
Right?
True.
So right now, while you're in this phase of like, well, I can do whatever I want because they can't find anybody to replace me. Right? Yeah, but when they can replace you, you're the first one, dude.
You'll be the first one gone. I know. I don't get the mindset. I mean, it's like, I'm going to take advantage of this as long as I can. Well, this isn't going to last, guys.
It isn't.
It's going to change, and it's going to get to the point where now they're going to have so many workers that are willing to work and do the job because they're going to need it, and they're going to be hungry. You, the one who, like Tim said, is so lazy, you're going to be the first one.
Do you remember 6 years ago, like this loudmouth orange-looking dude got elected, and oh my God, the people who supported him all got up and went to work. Why? Because they were waiting to go to work.
Yeah.
Right. Now, remember the coal miner? This is the one that I remember the most. It's the coal miners in like West Virginia. That, under the previous administration, they basically said, we're going to do away with this industry. He got into office and he opened the industry up. You know what those guys did? They went up and like, let's go to work. I can eat this week. Those are the type of people that are going to rebuild our America. And, when we put them down, all right, or we put them into a corner, those are the people, when opportunity comes, they're going to take advantage of it.
Yeah. But unfortunately, though, a lot of those people are from a different type of generation, that a lot
Really?
of them are getting to that age now and saying, "You know what? I'm just gonna retire because I can make more money doing that than what they were paying me, so I'm just gonna retire." And a
Well, there
lot
are some like that, but there are parts of our world that, they raise one generation after another doing the same industry.
Yeah, I get it.
All right. You think about it. The kid was a mechanic. His dad was a mechanic. Why? Why is he a mechanic also? Because cars intrigued him because that's what was around the house all the time.
Yeah,
The kid who was the carpenter, it's because dad was always building a project. So he wanted to become a carpenter. Right. And it's work ethic is what has changed. Right.
yeah,
And those people who, when the opportunity comes to go, wait a minute, if I work, I can get a newer car this year, right? The carpenter. If I take on 10 jobs, I can buy a new truck this year and I don't have to wait on my truck to be fixed, right?
yeah.
So
Well,
they get that concept and they go to work.
I just think people right now, they aren't hungry enough.
Well, it's because we spent the time trying to program them to be lazy, right? And this is going to work. And
Well,
this is
I think
political.
it was twofold. I think we were trying to help. In a lot of respects, we were trying to help, but I think it backfired.
No,
It
no.
got
If you help people, if you pay people to do nothing, you are
yeah,
not helping them. You
backfired.
are hurting them.
Backfired.
Yeah.
Big time backfire.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could go into the PPP and how I've been reading how the big corporations got the PPP, still laid people off and pocketed in their pockets.
That's right.
And the small business owners, guess what we got? Zero. We didn't get anything, which
That's
is
right.
what the PPP was supposed to do, help the small business owners. And it didn't go to the people that it was supposed
Here's
to.
here's the bottom line. All right, and I think it was Ronald Reagan said this. All right, that like when the government says I'm here to help. All right, run. Help is on the way. Don't believe them. All right. The I have never once looked for a federal grant, a federal handout, or anything from the government for my businesses ever. I
Me
never will. I don't do that.
ever. I've done
All
it
right.
all of my own money. I didn't want to owe anybody. I didn't
Yeah,
want
I
to
would rather live in my freaking car if I
Yeah,
have to.
yeah,
All
I
right,
agree.
to feed myself.
I agree. Than to be dependent on somebody and saying, damn, I need to pay this guy and I need to pay that guy and I need to pay that guy because they lent me this and they let yeah. If I fail, I fail. And I have nobody to blame but myself, and I don't have to worry about paying anybody back. It's just my fail.
Yeah,
But if you've got investors and so on and so forth, and you fail, now you've got them on your back saying,
that's
okay,
right.
where's the money?
Yeah.
So
So
it's
speaking of fail, all right, I want to talk about something that I have been unable, all right, and I should have told you ahead of time I was going to do this. I have been unable to talk about for the past few months. You knew about it. Some of my closest friends knew about this, but our general audience doesn't. And I now can talk about it.
yay, you can get it off your chest,
Mm-hmm.
which has been a huge burden.
It has been a pain in the ass. Most people ask, "Well, Tim, why'd you move?" Why? I mean, my life was very comfortable in that condo, right?
Too comfortable. The universe made you move.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, first of all, in that condo complex, I was on the HOA board for several years. I served 2 terms on the board. All right, and at the end of my second term, finally, I got done putting up with a guy who basically had done nothing but bully me. All right, pressure me. He was a pain in the ass to me the entire time I was on the board. He won't get up and do anything in that community himself, but he'll bitch about everybody who is.
Of course.
So, in May, all right, we go out for ice cream one night on a Friday night, and Gwen decides to drive. So we get in Gwen's car, we drive, we go over to the ice cream place, we pick up ice cream, we come back. Our condo was at a place like a corner that, you know what I mean, you turn, right? And then our parking spot was right there.
Yeah.
So and it was a tight parking spot. So if you had a passenger, you got out of the car. So she stopped. I get out of the car because she's driving, and she pulls around the back end. And this asshole who worked for us, all right, I'm not going to tell you his name, but it's short for Dick. Anyway, he pulls behind my wife. stops his car and starts yelling at us.
For any reason?
Drunk as hell.
Oh.
Probably had a bad night.
Yeah.
He doesn't like me anyway. It's not the first time he's blocked me from pulling my car in or out, right? So I basically say, hey, Dick, move along. Come on, nothing here. Just move along, go home. All right, whatever. He gets out of his car and starts swinging punches at me. This is an 80-year-old man who outweighs me by 3 times almost. He's big, right? Starts swinging punches at me. So I'm looking at him going, man, this guy's going to hurt me. He's going to hurt himself. In the meantime, my wife's sitting there. She can't back in because this guy's blocked her, right?
Yep.
So I took the ice cream in my hand and I threw it in his face to neutralize the situation. Figure it would shock him. It would wake him up. Throw the ice cream in his face. You fucking asshole. And he tries swinging at me one more time and he can't. Gets in his truck and goes, I'm going to make sure you go to jail tonight. Sure enough, 3 hours later, the cops show up at my door and tell me, well, you harmed the elderly. We need to take you to jail tonight.
With an ice cream cone, you harmed him?
Ice cream. So
what proof do they
I was
have?
telling the story down in the jailhouse, all right? And those guys were like, wait a minute. You're here because you threw ice cream in somebody's face?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm a hard criminal. You better keep your distance.
I'm just saying, it was the most messed up thing in the world, all right? So, like, then
Wait,
this.
hold on. No, hold on.
Yeah.
How is it though? They can prove that you hurt him? Were there any witnesses besides your wife that saw it? And number 2, did he have anything on him that showed any bodily harm?
Well, wait. The officer said to me, how come he has a black eye? And I said, probably from the fight he was in with his son, his daughter's boyfriend 2 weeks earlier. You should have that in your police report because the police were out here that night. Oh, we don't have that.
So
I really wanted to say to the police officer that
on hearsay. It's not really proof.
There was no proof.
So how could they even arrest you if it's on hearsay? I'm just saying. I mean, last time I checked, in court of law, you got to have proof.
So apparently, here's what it is. Dallas, Texas police officers. Yes, I'm picking on you right now. They get paid by how many people they take down to the jailhouse, apparently.
Sue.
So,
well, and that's another issue, is because the jailhouses that we have are no longer, at least a lot of them that were in California, and I'm sure in other areas, they used to be run by the government, and when government money got and so on and so forth. A lot of them are privatized now.
Yeah.
And they
I don't think ours is privatized, but it's still government run.
But they don't get money unless somebody's in the jail. So that's why there's so many people in a lot of these jails, because that's where they get their money. Yeah. Oh, wait, you looked cross-eyed at the girl that walked up, going to jail.
Yeah.
Going to jail. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. There's no rhyme or
reason. But they sure
did
offer me my COVID shot in there. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No, I've got COVID. Did I tell you? And I'm going to infect you all for bringing me here.
No, they have to give you a COVID test.
Oh, you can't refuse and say, I'm not taking that.
I get them having a COVID test, and then you have then you have to wear a mask, and I'm like, if I don't wear my mask, what do you do? Put me in jail?
Yeah, I'm already here.
Yeah, really. So wait a minute, no. As you're going through the process until you get to the point where you're into the arraignment hearing, right?
Already is when they put
up there. People wear masks. After that point, nobody has a freaking mask on. Why? Because they're like, what are you gonna do? Put me in jail?
Oh my God.
Right. And it's just, it was one stupid thing after another that night. And basically the cops said to me as we're driving down to the jailhouse, we do have to say you're the calmest guy we've ever arrested for this.
Because they didn't do anything wrong.
No, I didn't say much. I'm like, well, thank you, right? And I'm like, in my mind, I wanted to tell them, really, this is what I wanted to say to be a smart ass at that point. I wanted to say, well, I'm looking forward to this new law. This new law where I can come to your house, pick a fight with you, and the second you fight back, you go to jail.
Yep.
All right. And they gave me all kinds of excuses as to why they could do it. And I said to my wife, I says, I figured he was going to be an asshole that night. And I should have gotten my freaking car and went to Fort Worth that night. Just said, okay, I'm going to Fort Worth to stay in a hotel. And now I'm away on business.
So
when they came and knocked on my door, I would have answered.
This is a lesson. You didn't listen to your little voice that told you to get the heck out of town. And that's what happens when you don't listen to your little voice.
I know.
Got to listen to your voice.
Anyway, so it gets put into the court system as this is a class 3 felony.
What's a class 3 felony?
Hurting the elderly.
Oh my God. With ice cream.
With ice cream, yeah. That's some deadly ice cream, I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's rough. That's really rough.
So, I mean, of course, they ask you, okay, are you going to hire a lawyer? Hell yeah, I'm going to hire a lawyer because I'm going to fight this. There's no way I'm going to have a felony on my freaking record.
Not for an asshole that I threw an ice cream at.
Not going to have for a guy who's been an asshole to me and everybody.
Who started it? He's the one who started hitting me.
He is.
You should have let him hit you because you should have let him hit you and say, oh, really? Well, this is my black guy that he hit, and he hit me first. My wife is a witness.
Well, I mean, they didn't inspect my hands, because he said I hit him. They didn't inspect my hands to see if I hit him.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, come on, guys, do your job the right way. So, due diligence.
So I got out like within I think it was 28 hours. I was out of jail. Right, ruined my freaking weekend like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, of course.
But and it really fucked my mindset up for about a month. I mean, it messed with my mindset for a month.
Because that's all you're thinking about is I got to fight this damn thing. I got enough to deal with on my plate. Now I got to deal with this asshole who's just an asshole. And now, it's wrong on so many levels. Let's just put it that way.
So one of my neighbors, because basically, and within a week, everybody in the condo complex heard about it, right? And one of the other elderly residents there bought himself a hat that said, "Don't be a Richard." Yeah.
So I'm assuming you went to court, you won your case.
Actually, no. Here's what happened because my lawyer has to, before they in a case like this, because it's a felony, it has to go before a grand jury to get an indictment because it's a felony. Gosh. So the DA in Collin County because I lived in Collin County, I was arrested in Dallas City County, but it was an out of county thing because I was in city of Dallas, but in Collin County. So the Collin County, the district attorney that gets a hold of the case talks to my attorney was very much on top of things. My attorney was in his 70s as well, right? He's not a young guy. On top of the whole thing, all right, the district attorney looks at the case and says, well, let me put all this together for you so you can come up here and view it so you understand. Look at the police cams and everything from that night. Well, the file kept getting corrupted. Don't know why. Right? I'm not saying it was done on purpose. I'm not saying it was done. Just the file kept getting corrupted. And after just reading all the documentation, the district attorney said he really did not want to take, because he knew it wasn't a winnable case. He did not want to take this to the grand jury. So after the second time of not being able to get the documentation, see the videos and stuff like that, for my lawyer, he basically sent it down and didn't get a response from the Dallas PD, the investigator, and basically said, I'm sending this down and dropping it and saying, we're not going to pursue this.
Of course, because they don't have evidence.
Yeah, well, no, he says if they want to pursue it, this is what my lawyer said. If they want to pursue it, they've got to file a whole brand new case now.
Well, and not only that is they don't have trust me, my mom was the legal secretary. This would not stand up in a court of law. Would not. even if you put it in the jury wouldn't even have to deliberate. They just say, yeah, no.
No, well, I mean, even the district attorney said the worst that could ever happen from this is the guy gets a self-defense.
Yeah, it's
So
ridiculous. And if they looked at, like you said, he had a record, 2 weeks prior.
2 weeks earlier, but basically what he did was, I mean, he sweet talked his way, but that 2 weeks earlier, he learned how to play this game to do that to me. So
that's just, you know what? It'll come to bite him in the ass.
Of course. Here's why.
Over and over again. So this is something, if anybody who's watching us should learn. When you do something that you know is deep down inside is wrong and you're just doing it to be an asshole, it will come back to bite you in the ass threefold. Just saying. Just saying. It will. Whether you think it does or not, it does.
Yeah, so basically, that's one of the reasons why I said that's it. I'm moving. I'm not going to stay here anymore. I'm not going to live in this place anymore. I don't want to be around this guy. I don't want to be around people like this anymore. So I said, screw it. I'm selling my place. My mom sold her place. Wait a minute. The president of the HOA said, screw it. I don't want to live around here anymore either.
You love to.
Okay. The vice president of the HOA board is pissed because everybody that she loved or hung around with said, fuck it. We're moving out of here. And she can't.
All because of one.
All because of one asshole.
One person.
Yep.
That ruined the whole bushel of apples.
Yeah. So through this process, I had to tell a few people. All right. Number one, I had to tell, a close friend of mine who I highly respect. And I was like, because I had to use a reference, and my wife was writing down references for the bond place out of addresses in my phone. Right. She's trying to figure out who she can put non-relative addresses in our phone. Yeah. Right. And she wanted, so I mean, Craig's address is in my phone. I forget who else's was, but their addresses were in my phone. So she just grabbed their addresses and put it down. Right. People I knew, because it had to be people who knew me. Right. And then because Gwen was on it, she had to put 3 separate references for her. It was a weird thing with this bond. Right. So I had to call and tell people like Craig. I had to tell you, I had to tell, Gladys, because I have podcasts with you guys and it could affect what I do. I immediately put my podcast on hold. All right. Because of the fact I'm like, you know what I mean? I don't want to be out there in the public eye and have this come out. All right. No. While I'm interviewing somebody.
Yeah, that's not good.
So I pulled my podcast off for until I could get it cleared up. And that I knew that when I did that, there was a chance my podcast was going to be off the air for 2 years. I knew it. And I had to do it. I had to do it without telling everybody why I was doing it.
Yeah.
All right. It was sad. But then my lawyer says, who can you get for character references? Number one, as to what an asshole he is and how you are. I said, I can get that in the neighborhood, from a few people. But I had certain people in the neighborhood, because he's such an asshole, said, well, you're moving out and he's staying here. I don't want to put my voice up because he'll make my life hell.
Yeah.
I'm like, this doesn't affect him no matter what. I had other people who said, you tell me what to say and I'll say it in the community. Then, all right, I grabbed one character reference that I knew that if I pull this guy in for a character reference and he walks into the courtroom, everybody will freaking listen. And that is our dear friend and actor, Glenn Morshower.
Oh, nice job.
You know what Glenn said to me? I wish I could get Glenn on the show just to have him say this. Wait a minute. You went to jail for throwing ice cream in a guy's face defending your wife? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I'm proud of you, dude. Yeah, I only wish I was there to watch it.
I'm just saying, you heard it here first, folks.
Don't. I told Glenn, like, that's not something I'm going to advertise. I just thought it was hilarious. Glenn's like, I'll go to court for you, dude. You're not that type of person. And I get it. I'm not that type of person because there was an ambulance up there at his house for something. And I see his daughter used to walk by my house to take the trash out. And I just walk, and I would talk to her. And I just said, hey, there was an ambulance there. Is everything okay? And she just told me, it was a scare with her and stuff like that, with stress. And she thought she was having a heart attack. So she called the ambulance. And I'm like, are you okay? And then, I talked to her, right? And she said to me, she says, I just got to tell you, I'm sorry about the shit we're putting you through. My father's making me do this. And I felt bad. And I said, Lynn, she says, I can't go anywhere. I have nowhere to go. I don't have any money. I don't have a job. I can't go anywhere. I have to stay underneath his house. I'm like, Lynn, is he abusing you? Is he hurting you? And she goes, no, he's not physically hurting me. Emotionally, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
But I can't do much about that. I have to sit and take it. And I'm sorry. I said, Lynn, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? She's a sweet girl. All right. I couldn't give her a hug or anything when I moved. And she's like, I'm so sorry to see you go, because she's one of the people who came down to my house to look through it when we were building out that condo. She's a sweet, sweet lady. And I'm sorry that she has to go through this with her dad.
Yeah.
Right. But that's
unfortunate.
Yeah,
and it's unfortunate that he is so unhappy because he's making sure everybody else hates him as much as he hates himself.
Yeah, he just wants to make other people miserable because he's miserable.
Exactly. And that's truly what happens with these people. When they're that miserable, they want to make sure everybody else hates them as much as they hate themselves. So that way they can say, see, he doesn't like me, he doesn't like me, he doesn't like me. Well, and it's that vicious cycle. And it's a shame, but you got through it. So we're happy you got through it.
So I got through it, and my lawyer said there's a 90% chance that this thing is closed.
Yeah.
It's like 99% chance this is closed. There's a 1% chance they can pull the trigger and decide to open this back up.
And they're not.
I doubt it, because they have no clue. And it's like, he's like, don't tell anybody down there. So I'm not telling anybody in the complex, right? But I'm advertising it on here. So anyway.
You're not advertising it, you're sharing it.
I'm sharing it, all right, because
sharing your story with the people that love you the most, that watch this, and you're just sharing your story and what you went through.
Well, there's a lot of life lessons that I've got with this, all right? And this is what Glenn Morshower said to me when we talked about it. Glenn said, Tim, your mess is your message. What you're going through right now is going to use you to help people. I met this one guy down in the jailhouse. His name was Yanni, I think it is. I can't pronounce it. Like, he's a Spanish guy. And I've been texting with him. I texted with him to tell him my case was this way on. This happened on Friday, by the way.
Of course. And then you spend the weekend in jail because you can't get out.
Well, actually, it happened on a Friday night, and I was out by Saturday. I was out by Saturday at midnight.
Oh, I'm surprised, because usually they keep you until Monday.
No, I thought I was going to be out. I was shocked. Like, basically when I went up when they put me in my cell, in the cell, I basically went to it was like a room with a bunch of prisoners in it. And I basically went down to the guard in charge. And he'd given me a top bunk at first. And I said, listen, I'm not going to ask much. I said, the only I'm going to ask is if you have a bottom bunk available. I says, I have epilepsy and they have not given me my medication. I would prefer to be on a bottom bunk so I don't fall that far. All right. Because I'm pretty sure that if I stay here much longer, I'm going to have a seizure. All right. And I said, that's my only request. And he literally got up from his desk, and he walked and got me another cot. That's nice. He's like, I'm going to go take care of this. I mean, he's a good guy. Right. One of the guys in the cell with me, like, he was the guy escorted into the jailhouse in front of me. Right. And through the whole day, I was around this guy, so I kind of knew who he was. He said to me, he says, I can't believe they gave you that much of you had to pay that much of a bond to get out. For what you did. Unbelievable. Another gentleman, it was also his first time in there, was a young gentleman. His name is Yanni. Had a heart-to-heart talk with him. He was going to be a new dad. Has his baby mama that basically started a fight and got him put in there. All right. And he said, he was trying to just separate from her and say, that's it. This is not working out for us. We're going to have to do what we got to do for the kid, but for us, it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
And that's where she threw a fit and did stuff that got him arrested. he said to me, he said, him and I had a heart-to-heart talk about what it means to be a dad from a distance. All right. And he literally said to me, he says, thanks. He said, I'm kind of glad having to be in this situation that you're a guy I ran into in here.
Well, it was all for a reason. It all happens for a reason.
I mean, that's right. And my wife said, she said, like, she's going through a nervous hell standing outside the jail trying to figure out what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
And I'm inside the jail helping people. And I wasn't sitting in the jail going, well, I'm going to go help people so I can proudly tell everybody this. No, I mostly kept to myself unless somebody started talking to me. And if they were somebody who was like, well, fuck this system, no, this is I wouldn't hang around with them. I'm not here. I'm going through my own shit. I don't hear yours.
Yeah.
But this gentleman came up and he goes, man, this is my first time here. I said, mine too. And that started a whole conversation that we talked for, right up until we went into the courts, after we went out of the courts, right? And we were in the holding cell to transfer everything off. And we got our bail amount and everything. He says, I don't know if anybody even knows I'm here. I says, the phones are there. And they were basically, they're a speaker phone on the wall that you get to call. And you've got to go through a process to get it out and all that stuff, right? Well, I said to him, I said, you need to go call your father or anybody that you know and at least tell them where you're at. So hopefully someone on the outside can get working for you. All right. I says, I'm lucky. I said, I'm just basically, I would call and inform Gwen where I was because basically she said to me, the first conversation I had with her was on Saturday morning at about 7 a.m. I finally called her. This happened like Friday night at midnight. 7 a.m. I called her and she was sitting outside in the jail, sitting outside. She'd already figured it out and was down there waiting for the process to happen.
Yeah.
Right. And she basically said, I've got this taken care of from out here. Don't worry. Okay. Now I'm not worried because I have someone on the outside working for me. So I told this young man, go get someone on the outside working for you.
Yep. And
he did. And then there was another guy who was in there who literally was, you know what I mean? He would get on the phone to, his girlfriend, his mom, trying to get help. And his girlfriend and his mom were pitting each other again, pitting the other person
against the other one.
They're trying to start a fight. And he's on the phone going, I'm in fucking jail. Can you not have this fight with me right now? You think maybe you can help me with the process to get out and we can fight about this later.
Yeah.
Now's not the time. I mean, and he's screaming it because we all hear it.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing you can do. That's the shit you have to go through in there. And I'm looking at people in there, like in the shit they're going through. I mean, I heard one guy come in and I listened. He sat there talking about the whole process he's going to go through. Cause like he goes through this like a weekly basis. He knows like how it's going to happen. And then there's the people in there going, okay, how do I get this handled?
Yeah. But I, like I said, I believe you were so comfortable there that you didn't realize you needed a shift. And this was a shift
with the condo.
Because because my husband went through the same thing. He was working for a dealership for over 25 years. We went through the first recession in 2007 and they cut his pay and then he got it cut again and they expected him to do more. And then 20 years later, he's trying to make up for that. And they are trying to cut him again, the pay, and make him do more. And didn't appreciate what he was doing. And half the time he was working by himself. And then they would say, why aren't your numbers up? Because I'm by myself and I can only do. It was just one thing after another. And he was frustrated. But I told him, I said, it's the universe pushing you to get you out. You need to do something else. And you've been so comfortable that now it's making you uncomfortable to make that shift. And so and that's when he finally made that shift. And I think a lot of times, and I'm just a firm believer in that, we get so comfortable in our life, or we get so comfortable that, as we know as business owners, when you become comfortable and complacent, you don't learn.
Yeah, your business starts to die, but
you don't learn, you don't grow. You have to be uncomfortable in order to grow. And I think the universe sometimes pushes us in such a way that makes us so uncomfortable that we're just like, all right, we have no choice. We got to make this choice. It gives us no other choice.
For us, it was, I mean, I was in the process of last November, all right, and I had a client who got pissed off at me for doing this and quit my program and walked away, and I'm okay with it, whatever. Last year I went in and I looked at this real estate group that I stumbled upon. It was about a year ago now that I basically started talking to my friend David Fisher, who I'd known David for years, but I didn't know what he talked about. When I realized he taught this real estate stuff. So I go and find out that this is a group of people I want to plug in with. Mm-hmm. So I plug in, I didn't join their mentorship program, all that stuff. And that started me on a process of going, you know what? It's time to change what I was doing in real estate because my real estate had peaked. I was never going to, where I was never going to grow anymore because of the type investments I made and where I was at. So I realized then putting money into deals was what was going to make this work. So I started looking at, number one, I could borrow against my condo because we had quite a lot of equity. But I sold my other condo, the one I used to live in, and I gave my one renter several months. All right. And then when this happened in May, I said, that's it. It's going on the market, dude. If you can't afford to buy it, somebody else is, because I can't afford to hold this anymore. And literally it sold within weeks, like within 3 weeks of this happening, my first condo sold. Once that first condo was closed, all right, we started the process of we started looking for a house. And as we started looking for a house, we looked at a lot of different places. This place came up that we were in, and we decided to act onto it, even though it was much harder, much higher than we wanted to spend. So,
what you looking at? You didn't have a window in your condo, did you?
I didn't know. Well, I had a door in front of me.
See how he went, squirrel.
No, because I got this thing. It's like, Tim Gillette, your transaction date Thursday, whatever.
Squirrel. Come back to us, Tim.
Hold on. When somebody sends, there's a lot of this lately where people are sending me this bill going, your amount is due. And I'm like, dude, I don't have an account with you.
It's scamming, phishing.
So I'm just going to delete it. Anyway, all right. So this place became available, and it was $50,000 more than I wanted to spend after I fixed it up. So that was just to buy it.
Yeah.
Right. So I got it, and I said, you know what? It's just going to be less money I invest. All right. And we put our place on the market, and we went on vacation July 1st. We went on vacation for a week we had planned. And they did 2 open houses while we were gone. And literally the people who bought our condo fell in love with it and wanted it. Right. And their offer was, they offered not only what we were asking, but $10,000 over to keep all the extras we were offering extras, add-ons if they wanted to bid on them. All right. And they offered $10,000 more to get all the add-ons, which included leaving my grill. It included leaving my my music system that went throughout the house.
Yeah.
All right. With my iPad that controlled it. All right. And left our updated kitchen. All right. We left the updated kitchen because I hate to say this, but like, good luck if they ever have to get that refrigerator out of there, because we put the refrigerator, then we put the countertops in. When you come out, you have to lift it over the countertops to get it out of there. So it's one of the reasons why we left that there. But like, it sold real quick. And the only thing I wished I would have done is I wished I would have delayed, because I had to give these people here. I closed on this before I closed on selling mine.
Yeah.
And I wished I would have, because we gave them 3-week lease back. I wish we would have closed a week later, because I would have taken the money from that deal and put into this house. I'm going to get stuck next year with an expensive tax bill because I took the money from my investment to put on my down payment on this.
Yeah.
And
when you could have just taken it out of your house.
hopefully there's losses from my other real estate stuff now that will offset that and not
I'm
have to
sure
pay
it will.
$15,000 in taxes next year.
I'm sure it will. I mean, we did pretty good considering that we did our taxes and we sold our house.
Mhm.
And of course bought the new house, and we did pretty good. We actually
Well,
got
selling your residence that you live in and buying another residence is one thing. Selling a rental property and buying a new residence is where you get hit.
different thing. Yeah.
Different thing. You get hit capital gains on that, and the capital gains on that a little bit expensive because of the fact that we bought that. We sold that thing for $100,000 more than we paid for it.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
is
and the nice thing
more than double the price.
the nice thing about the house that we built and so forth, it's already gained equity, which is nice because it's not even built yet. And
But
I
again,
think,
you're buying house. No, you're buying houses you live in. I bought house. This house here, I can fix up all I want, and the value goes up. Great.
yeah,
The downside is if you take that to a real estate, when you sell a rental real estate, you have to flip that and put it into they have a 1031 exchange that you put that into another real estate
real
project.
estate.
If you
Got
take
it.
that money and you spend that money, you pay tax on that money. The money that you basically the way the real estate is set up,
Well, don't you just wait? Don't you have a time though for before
you do, but
that you
you
can?
have to. I needed that cash to put the down payment on this one.
Oh, got it. Okay,
In other words, that money has to sit in an account until it goes into.
got it.
So, it's
So
all
you
right.
didn't have the opportunity.
Yeah, um, it's what it's going to do is, so I'm going to have a tough tax bill this year. All right. It's okay. I've got places that I can pull to do it.
Yeah,
All right. When the
it
money comes,
happens.
when the money comes due, Gwen will be 59 and a half. All right. And we have $100,000 worth of money in an IRA that we can tap into now.
Yeah. Yay.
So we'll tap, if we have to, we tap into that to pay the tax, and we tap into that to buy more properties.
Got it. Yeah.
So
It is what it is. Speaking of, wow, she's 59 and a half, or will be 59 and a half.
we'll
Will that
be
be next
50.
year?
She just turned 59 last month. So, which is
Big birthday
at 59,
tomorrow.
we find our birthday present for 59 and 56 was, that was the kids coming over to tell us we were going to be grandparents.
Yeah. Well, I got a big birthday tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to be
You're going
60.
to be 60 again?
Not again.
I'm not married to you. I don't have to flirt
I
with
would
you and
flip
pretend
you off
like
right now, but this is not a good place to do that.
huh?
We'd give you the bird right now, but this is not a good place to do that. So I'm just going to go.
Hey, like I said, I'm not married to you. I don't have to impress you.
I think I look pretty good for going to be 60. I don't think I look like I'm 60. I don't have a lot of wrinkles or anything. It's getting.
Hey, you
I
had
was
the
just,
wrinkles where it counts.
but you know what? The thing is though you go through these birthdays and these milestones, but for some reason this one feels weird. Feels different. I don't know why. I just don't know why. But I'm nervous about turning 60. I don't know why. I have no idea why. It just
I'll
feels
be
weird.
happy if I make 60.
Yeah.
Do you know, by the way, do you know the goal of every 93-year-old?
To be 60 again.
No. The goal of every 93-year-old is to make 94.
94, yeah.
The
Wake
goal
up
of every 94-year-old to make
Yeah.
95.
Yeah. God, I don't want to live that. Can you imagine? I mean, we were watching, you would have enjoyed this. We were watching a YouTube channel show where this guy was 104 World War II veteran. And it had this old car that was a big, huge Cadillac, 56 or something like that, that his son got going so that he could drive it for his 100. They wanted it to be for his 101 birthday. That didn't happen. 102 went and gone. That didn't happen. So 104, he finally got to drive in this car, and he got to go through the parade, the Veterans Parade, because he was one of the oldest World War II veterans still alive. 104. And I mean, the guy didn't look too bad considering he was 104, but it was kind of hard to understand him because you talk like this, so it was a little bit difficult.
He
But it was
talked like Ozzy Osbourne.
yeah. But but what was interesting is you're seeing that the his house, and they're showing that you're doing an interview in his house, and his house was built in the 50s too. So you can see he's still got a wall phone, a phone on the wall that I haven't seen in ages. I mean,
Wait a minute. This house here was built in 1998. Do you realize that every room, all right, has a phone jack?
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's crazy. I remember our old house. It had phone jacks everywhere, and it's just, and now it's, what do you need that for? You don't need a phone jack. I mean, it's weird that it's just how we've where we've come from. I mean, it used to be where we had that phone on the wall and you had the long cord and you could go across into the other room and practically choke your mom as she walked by. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's funny because you talk to these kids nowadays and they have to wear helmets when they go on their bikes. We didn't wear helmets. They have to do play dates. We played until it got dark. Just be home before the lights come on. That's what we were told. Be home before the lights come on.
We didn't have lights when the lights came on. We lived like I live now in the country.
Yeah. Well, I always lived in the city. I was always a city girl. So we always had lights, but my mom always said, be home before the lights are on. I mean, that was, you drank out of the faucets with no problem. You drank out of the garden hose with no problem. I mean, you did all these things, and we're still here to tell about it. And these kids I think they've been too, I don't know. I think we've sheltered them too much. Way too much. I mean, I've seen kids, they've got helmets on, they've got the elbow pads and the knee pads, and they go riding their little bike. We had shorts on, no shoes, short sleeves, no helmet, no nothing, just it's crazy.
So yeah, one of the things we did was we had a driveway, a hill driveway. So we put a ramp on it.
Of course.
I remember my mom coming out yelling, "Don't you do that because you guys are going to hurt yourself. You're going to kill yourself with that stupid ramp." Sure enough, I went off the ramp, all right, and landed wrong and sprained my ankle.
She warned you.
Crawled to the freaking house. I couldn't walk.
Oh, it hurts. I told you.
Shut up and go outside. I told you that ramp was a bad idea.
Yep. Told you. I told you.
So, yep. I mean, I hobbled on that thing. I mean, and it hurt. It took me probably about 3 hours to get up. And I remember after about 3 hours, eventually I was trying to get on the bike and ride, but it hurt like hell riding.
Yeah.
I remember going, after dinner, we had to clean up the kitchen after dinner every night. That was our job as boys. We had to clean up the kitchen.
Wow.
So my mom says, after dinner, guys, clean up the kitchen. I'm going in the living room to sit down. So I walk into the living room and I go, Mom, I will do the dishes. I will clean the kitchen, but just let me put my leg up for 15 minutes. It hurts really bad. Fine. Let me see this leg. My ankle was that big around.
And then she's like, "Oh, maybe it's sprained."
She's like,
"Maybe we should go see the doctor."
She loaded me up in the car, took me to the hospital.
Right? Let's go.
I can tell you stuff like she was worried as a kid, just when we were kids, how many times she took us to the hospital that they were going to take us away thinking we were being abused. Like I tripped over my dad's boots one time, and I mean, I remember looking up and seeing my dad there, right? And seeing his boots there. And my dad, like, he might have slapped me on the back or not. And the doctor saying to me, "How did you fall and hit your head?" Because I hit my head in the corner of the freaking house and hurt. Had to get stitches. How'd you hurt yourself? Well, my dad gave me a kick and I ended up tripping over his boots. My mom's like,
"Don't say that."
Yeah.
Don't say that. That's like when I was I think I was 2. And in those days in the 60s, they had those coffee tables that had the corners, the real
Yeah.
sharp corners.
Yeah.
And I was jumping on the couch, jumping. Of course, mom said, "Don't jump on the couch, you're gonna fall." Boom! Hit my head right here, and bleeding all over the place. And now I have a spot on my eyebrow that's
See, if if your mom didn't say that, she wouldn't have predicted the future, and it wouldn't
I
have happened.
know, we would have been just fine, but she said it, so here we
She
are.
said it. It happened. You predicted it, Mom, and it
Yeah,
happened.
that's like another time my sister was outside and she's playing in the water, and we had this patio that was kind of painted. And my mom tell her to be careful so she doesn't fall. As soon as I said that, what does she do? Slips, falls, and breaks these 2 teeth off. What's going on, Mom? I think Tabby broke her teeth. She's bleeding all over the place. It's gross. I'll be there in a minute.
Uh-huh.
My poor mom.
So anyway, through all this crap that I was going through over the past couple months, I've got quite a few business lessons out of it, quite a few life lessons out of it. And cleaning up some of my files, I started to find some of the old stuff that I did for Rocker Life Coach when I first started. And I'm trying to load them all into my Kartra and create a membership that I'm going to just offer this archive material.
I bet you guys didn't know this was going to be a commercial.
No, it's not a commercial because I don't have it up yet. But I found the original. The audio from the original workshop the first workshop
That you ever did?
that I ever did on blogging.
How many people? So let me ask you this: your first workshop, how many people did you have show up?
28.
28.
Yeah.
Okay. And they say that even if you have 5 show up, you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you just do the workshop, got 5. Next time you'll maybe have 10. Next time you'll have 30. Who knows? But you got it. You just got to do it.
Yeah. The most I've ever had in a room was 50 people. So.
Yeah.
This is why, and I was telling my mastermind last night, why I don't do big events, because I learned these small events is my key. That's my sweet spot.
Well, and we talked about this. I think it's better because people have more of that one-on-one.
Yeah. They want, you know what I mean? You think about, if you went to school, you got a classroom that was too big, you couldn't stand it.
No. Because now people feel like I spent all this money just to hear this guy go blah, 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 blah. And I learned nothing, walked out, great. Spent all that time and money for nothing. And we talked about, that's part of it too, is that you've got to take action on it. But, you also have to realize how many people are in the room and is it something that is really benefiting you or not?
So I'm trying to figure out how to do this, but I'm probably going to do it, in a way that I can do it. But my new event that I'm going to do is going to be the mastermind style event, and it's going to be to create, threefold. Number one is to come in there and learn how to do some stuff. Number 2 is everybody's going to write a blog post or a small book or something like that. And number 3. Everybody's going to read it from the front of the room, and we're going to record it.
Oh my gosh, that's like when you were in school. Okay, you've done your speech. Now you have to say it in front of the classroom.
The reason I'm doing that is I'm giving you written content, video content, audio content right there, all for attending the event.
Done.
Yeah.
And then you're going to show them how to evergreen it.
Yeah.
Done.
That's going to be my new event. All right. Yeah. And it's only going to be open to certain, there's only certain people, and it is not, I had a concept of this that I did in 2015, 16 timeframe. All right. That I since then changed it in 2018 when we went to Blog and Video Con, that I'm going back to it because I realized that was my most successful model. Go back to what your most successful model. And I'm not talking like most successful as I had a lot of people. It was my most successful because it was my most profitable.
Yeah.
All right. In other words, I would run 5 to 10 people through a workshop every month, and the amount of money I made was profitable. And then I would upsell a mastermind from it.
I think that's what we're going to be starting too. Is we're going to be starting webinars and workshops and that type of thing, because there's there's a lot of people out there starting brand new businesses that they need help.
Might need help. So My lawyer asked me, because I mean, first thing I did was I had real issues looking at his website. But since he solved my case, he says, well, I'll take you up on that website recreation if you want. So I'm going to need your help to help me recreate my lawyer's website.
No problem. You know what's funny is I've been going in the new neighborhood and we meet up with all these new neighbors as we're there and looking at the house, and they hand me their card and then I hand them my card and then they come back and say, you do websites? I said, yeah. Can we talk? I have a website and I'd like some help with. Sure, no problem.
You bet.
I'm getting business just showing up at the neighborhood.
Yeah. So, and all my stuff now, see, I can now host that, guys, because I have that big package, with SiteGround.
Oh, SiteGround rocks.
I love how fast.
ever
Wait a minute.
do
I love how fast this whole thing transitioned. It blew
Oh
my
my
mind.
God. SiteGround is the best. I don't use any other hosting. I love it. I've got a client right now that we've been going back and forth. She's still with GoDaddy. And I keep saying, just put it over to SiteGround.
Mhm.
And because she's had one thing after another in regards to malware. And now she's almost there. She's almost there to transfer over because I've never had any problems with SiteGround.
Which, now that I'm set up the way I am, the thing I'm going to do with websites, I'm not going to be in the website game, but I'm going to be in the funnel game, creating funnels for you. And I'm not talking just, hey, create a landing page, a thank you page, and upsell page. No, I'm going to help people with, if they're willing to use Kartra, I'm going to go in and create sequences and automation for your funnels. That's just what I'm going to do, because that's my sweet spot, and helping people without doing the website.
Yeah, and that's what we're working on too with Go High Level. We're working on setting everything up and that type of thing so that you have all your systems set up. There's Kartra, there's Go High Level, there's all kinds of them out there. It just depends on what works best for you.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing the same thing. So you've got two people here
that
are willing to help you in getting your system set up and your website so that automate, baby, automate. That's what it's all about. Automation, make it easy. You want the easy button? Set it up.
That's right.
Set it up so that it'll be easy for you, because if it's not, it's a pain in the ass. Trust me. Been there, done that.
Yep. All right. Well, we're coming to the top of the hour here. So should we do commercial ads for our businesses, or should we just say, hey guys, thanks for coming by?
Well, yeah, why not? So Tim, you go first.
No, I don't want to.
All right, we'll start with the best. My name's Katrina Garcia, and we have KG Website Designs, and we help you build your website, maintain your website, but even better, we help you grow your business, build your list, and make more money via your website. We set it up so that it works for you instead of against you. That's what we perfect.
Okay. So my name is Tim Gillette, and I've helped people with blogging and stuff for years. But
come on, a little bit more.
We've made it down to what we call simple, easy marketing, and that is putting your content out there in a way that you can keep building, marketing that comes to you over the years. All right, and simple, easy events, we will be taking them back up starting in November and doing live events as well.
November. When are you going to do your live events?
My first one's probably going to be in January or February.
Very nice. Texas,
So,
I would assume.
I may start doing them like every 3 months now, because they're going to be smaller ones.
But you're doing them in Texas, right? You're not
in Texas. Yes, that is the one thing, is you have to come to Texas to get them done.
Yeehaw!
So
I got a pair of boots. I got some shit kickers now. I'll come to Texas with my boots.
You gotta come to my workshops. That's what you gotta do.
I said I'll come to your workshop with my boots on. I'll fit right in.
Cool. Sounds like a plan. So, all right, guys, we will see you guys next week.
Later.